Vietnam, Vietnam, oh, please become. Late at night while you're sleeping, Charlie comes creeping around. When my chopper touched down way up north at the 101st Airborne AO at Firebase Eagle Eye, I looked, and there in among the concertina wire and the sandbags in a cloud of dust, it was Billy. Little bandy-legged fella in tiger-striped fatigues, bony hat on his head, big bowie knife on his hip. I ran underneath the rotor blades over to the tarmac where he was, and he said, "Hello, Wyatt." He always called me Wyatt. "Hello, Wyatt. Let's go get a beer." I said, "Billy, I'd like to, but I got to go down to headquarters and check in. They got me in Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 506 Infantry." "No, you ain't." What do you mean?" "I called down there and had your orders changed." "Billy, what? Why'd you do that?" "Why, you see that range of mountains up there?" "Yeah." "Beyond them mountains, there's a place called the Ashaw Valley. Charlie Company's up there right now. They're getting their ass kicked. You go out with them, you'll be dead by the end of the week." "All right. What should I do?" "More with us. Join recon." "Recon? What's that?" "Reconnaissance. Battalion's got 4 6-man teams. They fly us out ahead of the line troops, drop us in, we get on the ground, snoop around, radio back, first in, first out. What do you say?" "Well, Billy, only 6 guys. I mean, what if you get surrounded?" "Why, when you're out in recon, you're always surrounded." "Well, Billy, if recon's such a good deal, how come everybody doesn't want to be in recon?" "Because, Wyatt, they're not crazy sons of a bitches like you and me." Yeah, I think my going to Vietnam actually was sort of beyond my control. For ever since the Civil War times, every time there's been a war, there's been a more in it. And when I was 19 years old, I felt propelled by that ancestral line into the war. There was a war on, and I wanted to be in it. I wanted to see what that was. Sort of put my hand in the fire and see what it was like. Billy reached down into his pocket and he pulled out a Bong Song bomber dipped in liquid opium from China. He lit it up and he said, "Welcome to the Nam, Wyatt." I said, "Billy, you guys smoke dope out here?" "Yeah, have a dope." I said, "Billy, I don't think that's such a good idea, smoking dope out here." Said, "You seem to know a hell of a lot for a fellow that's only been in the field about 3 hours." Listen, there's probably about 300-400 NVA troops within a half an hour here. One of us farts too loud, they're going to be all over us like flies on shit. You don't want to think about that too much. You think about it, you're going to get scared. You get scared, you're going to tense up. You tense up, you're going to fuck up. You fuck up, you're going to get somebody killed. When your danger quotient enlarges to the point where you need to be in a full-scale war to feel alive, can you imagine what that's like? To come back here and deal with parking tickets and driver's licenses and job, you can't do it. So what you do is you relive the war. You sit in a room and you smoke cigarettes and you stare at the TV and you run all the old trails. I walked down a long dark hallway and I could see the shades were drawn, and I pushed my way through the door and I walked in, and there, sitting in an overstuffed chair with an ashtray with about 100 cigarette butts in it, was Billy. He looked like he hadn't moved in weeks. He said, "Hello, Wyatt." I said, "Billy, I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. Hey, Wyatt, you remember that time we were on night patrol down in that village and Bono fell in the shithole? Yeah, he was fishing turds out of his pocket for about an hour. Hey, Billy, do you remember that time we got fired up by those gunships up along the rail track? You took me and you threw me down in a hole, and we went back later on and we looked at it, and the hole was only about this big. Well, we talked. We talked for 6 hours. And Billy and me, we were back in the jungle again. So what I decided was that I was going to break that ancestral chain of automatic military service. And neither of my kids have the same attitudes about the military that I had when I was growing up, partly because, not necessarily because I lectured them about it, but I've told them the stories that I've told you. See, the first time I went to Vietnam, I went there to kill gooks, and we killed a shitload of them. But it didn't do no good, didn't end the war. See, we called them gooks, but we were the gooks. Gook means foreigner, we were the gooks. I got back here and I could see the war wasn't over. I thought to myself, now what am I going to do about that? So I decided I was going to go back to Vietnam. But I wasn't going to kill gooks this time. I was going to go back to Vietnam. I was going to see how many of our fellas I could bring back alive. It's very moving for me to go to the wall in Washington, D.C. and to see the names of my comrades there in the stone. There's, in fact, in 2 weeks I'm going to be seeing a moving, scaled down version of the wall that's moving around to little towns in Pennsylvania. They've created a 1/3 size replica of the wall, and they're taking it and setting it up in little towns, you know? So guys who would never get to Vietnam can come to the wall. And they'll have, it'll be in Boalsburg, it'll be in my hometown in 2 weeks. And guys who don't leave their houses, who would never go to Washington, D.C., we're encouraging them to come out and gonna bring the wall to them. Listen, we did it, you and me. We flew straight into the devil's asshole. Came out without a scratch. We're alive. You're right, Billy. We're alive. Goddamn right we are, Wyatt. God damn it. We're alive. Late at night while you're sleeping, though